All right, hey guys, welcome back to Part Out. I'm Nate, and today we've got a 2018 Chevy Silverado. We're gonna try and fit some 33-inch tires in there, and a good way how we're gonna do that at stock ride height is we're gonna try and bring this inner wheel well back a little bit using the Zone Off-Road plate. All right, so I got my buddy Kevin here with me, and the first step that we gotta do here is we gotta remove this plastic corner piece and the entire inner liner for the fender well. When we're removing the plastic body cladding off the truck, it's important to realize that it's a very delicate process and we don't wanna break the plastic because you don't wanna replace that. But there is a clip right here, and you have two clips here that are it's gonna be on the truck just like that. How you're gonna remove it once you get the two screws out is that you're gonna push it inwards. So we're pushing it in, and then after you push it in, we're going inwards that way. So we're going in and then into the truck. So once you actually get the cladding off, hopefully you don't break these two white clips. They are actually very delicate, and odds are 8 out of 10 times you're probably gonna break those. Not really that expensive of a fix. You just get them from your dealership. Like I said, very minimum cost in case you do break them. But then it comes to the point where we actually have to get these white clips out of the truck. So let me get this out. So you'll see the clips will be sitting in the truck just like this. And in order to get the clips out carefully, you'll see that it's got a Christmas tree setup kind of thing. You're gonna wanna take a flathead screwdriver, a small one, and then you're gonna push in right here. So you're gonna compress the clip and then easily just pry it out. It's a very delicate process. Just take your time when you're doing it, and it should all come out. So on the rest of the wheel well, you'll see that you got more bolts you got to take out. You got some up in here, got one here, and then you got two up front. It should be a pretty fairly simple removal process. All right, so next step we gotta do is find a brightly colored marker so you can clearly see what you're marking. And you're gonna come over here and you're gonna find this hole on the truck. And we're gonna mark a line from the top of the hole over to the edge of the metal. So you're gonna draw a line straight across from there, and then you're gonna take this side of the hole and you're gonna draw a straight line straight from here, straight to the bottom. So it's just an even L shape. All right, so the next step that we're gonna do is we're gonna measure inwards from this bolt right here on the bottom. And we're gonna start from dead center on that bolt, and we're gonna measure in 3/4 of an inch. And then once we do that, we're gonna mark a little nick of a line right there with our marker. And we're gonna draw that line, or we're gonna follow that line straight down here. And we're gonna put a dot right here with our marker. And then we're gonna take our tape measure and start from that dot at the edge and diagonally to the yellow line that we drew previously in the step before. And then we're gonna have a diagonal line, because that's the amount of the chunk of the truck that we're gonna actually remove. So now that we have all of our lines marked up, we're gonna go ahead and move this insulation up, because once you're cutting, sparks are gonna start flying. You don't want a fire start on your brand new truck. So we're gonna take this, kind of tuck it up out of the way, and then we're gonna take our cutoff wheel. We're gonna go ahead and cut out that outer piece of metal following our lines. All right, so the next step that we're gonna do is we're gonna mark 3 lines here on the pinch weld, and then we're actually gonna fold that pinch weld inwards using a vice grip or a hammer or whatever you have lying around that can bend metal kind of thing. But the other thing you're gonna wanna look at is the bottom here, which is actually kind of a gusseted style, so it's gonna be a little hard to bend that. So what you're gonna wanna do is still follow that same line. You just wanna cut it right there at the bottom. And then you're also gonna wanna probably notch out or just pretty much remove that entire corner piece there. That way it'll make it a little bit easier to actually bend that metal inwards. So now that we have the pinch weld folded over, it kind of looks a little bit subpar for a 2018 Silverado. So what we're going to do is we're going to touch it up with some black paint, make sure it looks good. But before we touch it up with paint, it's always important to make sure that you can, deburr the edges after you cut, so that way it's not, less sharp edges is better, so you don't cut yourself. So we're going to paint it up, make it look nice. It's going to get covered by the Zone product, so it's not too big of an aesthetic if you kind of mess up. But what you want to make sure you don't do is get it on your exterior black paint, so you can keep the shine on your truck. All right, so we've got our Zone plate right here, and now we're going to take actually the factory cutout that we did. So we took that out, and we're going to actually reuse these clips, and you're going to get those out by just taking a set of pliers. You're going to pinch these, they'll come right out, and then you're going to take those clips, you'll put them right here in these two square notches that are cut out in the Zone plate already. You're just going to click them right in there, so that way it'll be pretty simple, easy factory install. All right, so we've got our Zone plate right here, and it'll go on just like this. But as you'll see on the bottom, there's a notched out hole, and that's for this bolt here at the bottom. So we're going to take this bolt out, and that's going to come out, and then it's going to kind of separate these metal layers right here. So we're actually going to slide this part of the plate right into there, so it'll just slide right in, and then we'll line up the holes and put the bolt right back in there, and there you go, it's installed. So now that we have our plate installed, it's important to remember that we want it tucked behind the fender itself, so that way it's a nice finished look. But now that we have that installed, we have some extra clearance for our tire to move around. And basically now all we have to do is just put the fender liner back in. We'll tuck the insulation back up in there, and we should be wrapped up. Okay, so now that we have the inner fender liner back in, as well as the plastic body cladding piece, basically how that goes back in is the reverse steps of how we took it off. Pretty straightforward stuff. But why we wanted to install the Zone backplate on here is because the Chevy Silverados, they've got a square wheel well to them, which makes it harder to fit a larger tire size on there. And this is the part where it actually gets hung up the most. So with the Zone backplate installed, we were actually able to clear an extra 5/8 of an inch going back into the truck. So that way when we get a 33-inch tire on this truck, we're actually able to clear that Zone pretty easily. So if you guys want to see more part out videos, subscribe to Part Out, and we'll see you guys next time.